Hi, this is Rob from Learn by the Drop at learnbythedrop.com. Learn by the Drop is a place to learn Drupal. And in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to set up actions and triggers on a Drupal 6 site. Actions and triggers are a new feature that can be found in Drupal 6 and above. So why don't we head over to my sandbox site. Now the first thing you're going to need to do when you want to set up triggers and actions is you're going to need to log in to your site, which I have already done. We're going to go to Administer. And once we're at Administer, we have a couple of different options for working with triggers and actions. First, in the site building block, you will notice a link for triggers, which triggers basically tell Drupal when to execute actions. And then under site configuration, you will find a link for actions. And actions, the actions section allows you to manage the actions defined for your site. So why don't we take a look at triggers first, and I'll explain the basics of triggers to you and show you how to set up a trigger. Now, a few things that you need to know about triggers. You can set up triggers for comments. So, for example, when someone leaves a comment, a particular action will occur. In this case, I've already set up a trigger, which is called Send an Email to Rob. So, for example, if someone publishes a comment, I will get an email. So the publishing or the saving of the comment is the trigger, and the corresponding action is send an email to Rob. So you can set up triggers for comments. You can also set up triggers for content. So for example, a new node is posted to your site. So this one is when either saving a new post or updating an existing post, you can assign a number of actions. As you can see here, I have already assigned an action to the trigger after saving a new post, and that again is that same action, send an email to Rob. So every time a new post is added, an email will be sent to me. You can set up triggers for cron when cron runs. You can set up triggers for taxonomy. So, for example, after saving a new term to the database or after saving an updated term to the database. Finally, you have triggers for users. So, for example, if a new user is created on your site, you can set up an action, which again, I've set up a very basic action, which is send an email to Rob. So, for example, you have a community site, you want to know when people sign up, you want to know when you're getting users, you can do that. You can set up a trigger, which will fire an action, which will send you an email when new users have been added to the site. And you can see that you have a variety of different triggers that you can choose from here after a user's profile has been updated, after a user has been deleted, after a user has logged in, after a user has logged out, and when a user's profile is being viewed. Now let's go back to Administer, and let's take a look at actions. So an action is something that occurs once a trigger has, I guess, what I would call been fired or tripped. So actions are individual tasks that the system can do, such as unpublishing a piece of content, banning a user's module, such as the trigger module can fire these actions when certain system events happen. For example, when a new post is added or when a user logs in, and modules can provide additional actions. So let's take a look at some of the action types. We have an action type here for a comment, which on a particular trigger can unpublish a comment. You can publish posts, unpublish them, make them sticky, promote a post to the front page, remove a post from the front page, save a post, send an email, and this is one that I've set up, which is send an email to Rob. You can block a user or you can ban an IP address of a user. So let's take a look at this action that I have set up, send an email to Rob. So for the particular action, you have a description. In this case, I have a very basic description. Send an email to Rob. Who is the recipient? And what should the subject be? And in this case, I've just added a basic template for the message. New content has been posted to your site at, and then we have this node URL here. And that node URL basically is a tag that you can put in there, and you can see down here the options, the message that should be sent. You can include the following variables. So you can include site name, username, node URL, node type, title, teaser, body. So ostensibly, I could add any of these things in here just by adding these codes. For example, I could say, this has been added to your site at node URL by, and then copy username and paste that in there, and that would tell me new content has been added to your site at the following link by that particular user. And I could save that. That's an example of a trigger and an action that I have already set up. The trigger is when content is added. The action is send an email to Rob. Now, let's just go through the basics of setting up another trigger and an action. Now, in order for a trigger to make sense, you have to have a corresponding action. So why don't we add a new action to the site here, which is display a message to the user. And by clicking on this list box here, you can see all the different actions that are available to you. You can do a URL redirect, you can send an email, you can display a message, you can unpublish certain posts, change the author, unpublish comments, etc. So why don't we say we want to create an advanced action where we display a message to the user. The description is display a message to the user, and in this case we would need to add what the message is, and we would say thanks for saving new content. Really basic. Okay, and then we want to save that. We've added that, and we see it down here at system action display a message to the user. And so the next thing we want to do is we want to create a trigger that will fire that action, and we'll show you the example. So let's go back to administer, and then we're going to come over here to triggers. We already have this trigger after saving a new post. We've already got send an email to Rob. Let's choose another action. Display a message to the user. And we're going to assign that. Okay, so now we can see that after saving a new post, which is the trigger, we have two actions. Send an email to Rob and display a message to the user. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to run through quickly adding a new post, and we're going to fire that trigger, which should make the action occur. So let's go to create content. Okay, we're going to create, let's just say create a story. And we're just going to call this story testing our new post trigger. And then we're going to put some information in the body, which is going to be just this is a post to test our new trigger and action. Okay, now let's scroll down. Let's look at our publishing options, because I don't want to promote this to the front page, but I do want it published. And let's save it. Okay, now you can see the message. Now this is the default message, story testing our new post trigger has been created, but there is the action that occurred. It printed out that message. Thanks for saving new content. So that's just a basic walkthrough of actions and triggers in Drupal 6. So this has been Rob from Learn by the Drop at learnbythedrop.com. Learn by the Drop is a place to learn Drupal. Find more audio and video and blog posts over on Learn by the Drop that can help you get the most out of the Drupal platform. Thanks for watching.